Hey guys, it's Kaylee from K-Books and this is my wrap-up post for the month of July. So I read 12 books this month, which is way more than I usually read. I took part in the Yalk month hosted by Jess Hart's Books. So this one was trying to read some books by the authors that were going to Yalk before Yalk, but we basically made it a month, so even after Yalk I kept on reading those. I'm going to show you those, and then at the end I've got something a little bit different because I am starting a new thing on my blog, which when this post goes up on the blog, on my sidebar there will be a poll with 10 books on. That will be up there for the entire month, and on the day that I do this video I will choose the ones that have the 5 top votes, and there will be my TBR, my to be read list for the following month. Every month I won't get 5 books read because of work and whatnot, but they are going to be the books that I tackle. I might stray away from it if I get a really good review book or if I have to do one for a blog tour or something like that, but mainly I'm going to try and stick to those. So I actually did a little vote because I didn't have time to do it on the blog this month. I did one on Twitter, on Facebook, in my groups, and I posted a picture of all of the books my 10 books, and said, okay, vote, and the 5 that win, these will be the ones that I tackle. So I have those to show you at the end, so that will be a new thing that happens on each wrap-up video as well. I'm going to show you the books that won, the books that I will be tackling in the coming month. So first of all, the 12 books that I read. The first book I read was Angel Fever by L.A. Weatherly. This part of Yalk month, I was super excited that L.A. Weatherly was going to be at Yalk because I'm a huge fan of hers. And Angel series is one of my all-time favourite series. I absolutely adore Angel books. They're some of my favourite paranormal creatures to read about. And it is because of this series, but for some reason I just hadn't read the last one. So I took it to say, I'm going to read the last one. I'm going to do it. I don't know why I waited so long because it was absolutely phenomenal. I gave it 5 stars. It is an absolute amazing end to this series. So this series is a young adult paranormal and it is about angels, but the angels are evil. They aren't fallen angels. You don't have a love story with the angel. It's about trying to fight these angels because they're trying to take over the world. Amazing. So I absolutely loved this book. 5 stars, and it is still one of my favourite series that I will read again and again and again. The next book I read was City of Halves by Lucy Inglis. This is a young adult urban fantasy book, and I was really looking forward to it. It sounded really interesting. It says on the cover, if you can see, a must for fans of the Mortal Instruments. I hate that tagline on that cover, because to me, this book is nothing like the Mortal Instruments. I wouldn't have even put them in the same sentence if that wasn't there. So I feel like people are going to pick this book up and expect, yeah, it's going to be like the Mortal Instruments, and then be really disappointed when it's nothing like the Mortal Instruments. But it's amazing standing on its own. It's a little bit slow. I found it a bit slow to get into. The romance, I thought, it wasn't insta-love, but I thought it was very unpredictable. Sorry, predictable. It was unbelievable, shall we say. Not unpredictable, but I didn't really invest in it. I didn't really believe why these characters were getting together or anything like that. But apart from that, the story is phenomenal. I'm really hoping there's going to be a sequel because it's really good. I know Lucy told me that this book is coming out in the US soon, and then if it does well in the US, they're hoping to publish the sequel in conjunction with each other in the UK and the US. So please go and buy this book, US Buddies. It's really good. The next book I read was The Rain by Virginia Bergin. This is a young adult dystopia, and I gave it 5 stars. I love this book. It's amazing. It's very different from typical dystopias because you're not seeing the events after the apocalypse. You are in the apocalypse. It starts and it's just an everyday, normal day with these teenagers, and then the apocalypse happens, and it's told by the point of view of a 14-year-old. I have heard so many people complain about this series because she's selfish and she's 14. all 14-year-olds are selfish. How, you know, there's Killer Rain out there and all she's bothered about is seeing if her crush is still alive and going and getting her mobile phone, and it's so unrealistic. It's not unrealistic. I would be wanting my phone if the apocalypse happened. And I'm 24. What's a 14-year-old going to be like? I thought it was so realistic of a 14-year-old. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal, and I gave it 5 stars. Then the next one I read was the sequel, which is The Storm, which is more of your typical dystopia. The apocalypse has already happened. We're going to see what happens after that. Oh, it's so good. It's a great ending to a series, but at the same time, it kind of leaves it open where it could continue. It could continue if it needed to continue. I just loved every single moment of it. It's an amazing series and I can't recommend it enough. The next book I read was Half a King by Joe Abercrombie, and this is the first book in the Shattered Sea series. I was really looking forward to this book, and I was really disappointed. I gave it 3 stars. It's not a bad book, but it's not a great book either. There's lots of twists and turns, which is great. I was thinking this book, it's not for me. I don't really like it, and then there was a major twist and I was like, oh my god, that's amazing, and I really wanted to keep on reading. And then it lulls off and I get bored, and then there's a twist which keeps me hooked, but then it lulls off and I get bored, and that's how it continues throughout. I can't deny that Joe Abercrombie is a fantastic author. His writing is lyrical and poetic and beautiful, but I'm a plot reader. I need a nice fast-paced plot to keep me interested because I get bored really easily with books. That's why I DNF a lot of books. Yes, the twists kept me interested in reading, but I got bored quite a lot. So I will probably continue the series. There's only 3, just because I am interested to see what's going to happen next after that ending, but it was an average book for me. The next book I read was Unspoken by Sarah Rees Brennan. I've had this on my shelf for so long, but I have genuinely been terrified by this book because I've met Sarah Rees Brennan 3 times now, the 3rd time being at Yalc, and she always goes on about how her readers hate her because, you know, she breaks her readers' hearts and she likes breaking her readers' hearts, and that terrified me. That being said, this is one of the best paranormal books I have ever read. It's phenomenal. The story's amazing, the characters are amazing. Yes, she completely broke me at the end, but in a good way that made me want to read more. I still haven't started book 2 in the series, and I really need to read that in the next few months because the series is complete, so that's great. It did break me, but in a good way. This is a fantastic book, and I am really excited to see where she takes it. I gave it 5 stars. The next book I read was The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson. This book is not my typical book that I read, but I gave it 5 stars because this book is phenomenal. It completely blew me away. I went and bought it at Yelp after hearing Lisa speak about it, and it's a beautiful book. It's an LGBT book, which is something I don't usually read, but I loved it. It's about a boy who's transgender. He wants to be a girl, and it's about his friendships, it's about him falling in love, it's about his family and how they deal with it, and it is just the most moving and beautiful book I have possibly ever read. Like, I cannot praise it enough because it is just amazing. I never thought I'd love an LGBT book, but Lisa she blew me away with this book. So even if it's something you think you wouldn't want to read, you need to read it because it really surprised me. It's absolutely stunning, it's moving, it's beautiful, I can't praise it enough, it's absolutely amazing. It was the surprise for me, the surprise, that I'm surprised how much I adored it. The next book I read was Am I Normal Yet by Holly Bourne. This is the first book in Normal series, and this one is about a girl with OCD. I already knew about the illness because as a psychology teacher we have learnt about lots of mental illnesses as we teach them. But this is such a true depiction of what somebody living with a really bad case of OCD is like. And this was one of the most moving books I have read. Like, you can sort of... We join the story when the girl is in sort of remission. She's in recovery. And the more you read, the more you can sort of see her on a downward spiral, and you know something's going to happen. And it's not going to be good. And I literally had my heart in my mouth because I just felt so much for her. It really schools you in what it's like to actually live with OCD, because myself included, I am one who goes, I'm so OCD with my bookcases because I'm really organised. And it taught me that we shouldn't be saying that, because when you do have OCD, it's a very serious condition, and this just blew me away. This is the most heartbreaking but beautiful book I've possibly ever read. I loved it. I mean, Soulmates was my favourite Holly Baum book until I read this one. It was just so, so good. One of my favourite books, definitely. The next one I read was Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. I have heard such amazing things about this series. It's a young adult epic fantasy series. I gave it 3 stars. I wasn't overly impressed with it. I'm going to continue because I thought the ending, the past sort of 50 pages, was phenomenal and made me really want to continue with the series, but it was slow. I will be honest, I almost DNF'd it, because I usually DNF books at about page 100 if I don't like it, and I didn't really like it until about page 150. So there was obviously something that kept me reading and kept me going, but I was just bored. I was really bored until about page 150, and then there was Insta-love, and I hate Insta-love. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But the ending did make up for it. I will be continuing with the series, as I have heard book 2 is way better, but that one got 3 stars. I was actually quite disappointed in it. The next book I read is The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. I have heard amazing things about this. I DNF'd it. I really didn't like it. I didn't like the writing style just... It seemed off to me, like some of the words that was being used, a 16-year-old would never use. Even though the 16-year-old is a bookworm. Well, I was a bookworm at age 16 as well, but I wouldn't use words like that now at 24. So I didn't like it. The story was dragging. I was really bored. I just don't think Jandy Nelson books are for me. So I ended up DNFing it. The next book I read was The Sin Eater's Daughter by Melinda Salisbury. This is the first book in the Sin Eater's Daughter series, and I gave it 5 stars. I will admit, when I first started this, I was a little bit concerned because I'd heard very mixed things, and I wanted to love this book so much, but oh my god, I loved it so much. It's absolutely amazing. It's a young adult fantasy, and fantasy is my favourite genre. It's phenomenal. It was amazing. I absolutely adored it, and I can't wait for book 2. I know people will dislike the ending. I love the ending. For those who've read it, you will know why I love the ending. Girl power, yeah. Loved it. I cannot wait for the second one. And the last book I read this month was an ebook, and it is Every Last Breath by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the 3rd book in the Dark Elements series, and it may shock you, I gave it 3 stars. I have never in my life ever been disappointed with a Jennifer L. Armentrout book until now. I didn't really like it very much. The storyline was good, it was a good ending to the series, but I felt like it wasn't really Jen. And I feel like it wasn't that way because this is the series that Jen did a reader vote for who Layla was going to end up with for the ending of the love triangle. So I feel like some of the events that happened, she would have wrote completely differently had that vote not taken place. I think the ending of who she ended up with and everything would have been the same, but the bits leading up to that I think wouldn't have happened, and I feel like it would have been better if Jen had just originally wrote it how she originally wanted to write it. everyone will think that I dislike the book because I didn't root for the guy who won. That's not it at all. Everyone will know that in this book I loved both guys. Yes, I favoured one, but I loved them both, so I was going to be happy no matter who she ended up with, really. My issue was how it was dealt with. I understand that one of them was going to have a broken heart and that would hurt them, but I feel like she completely changed the character 100%, and he was barely in the book. One of the main characters of the book, and he was barely in it. He was seen like 3 times, and I hated that. I don't think that was realistic of the character. I felt like it was a different character that we were reading about than we did in book 1 and 2. I get that he was heartbroken. I get that he wouldn't want to see the person he loves with somebody else. But both guys were very, very protective over her. Both guys wanted to help her, and I thought it was so unrealistic that all of a sudden one of them had been like, okay, you've chosen someone else, see you later, I'm not interested. And he wasn't in for the majority of the book, and the only time he was in was when, I don't know, when he needed to be in for the story, and I really hated that. And I kind of hated Layla in the book as well, because she forgot about him. This person that she supposedly loved because she loves both of them, but it was like, okay, I've told him now, I forgot about him, I'm jumping into bed with the guy I've chose. And it made me so angry with her. So yeah, the book got 3 stars. I was so annoyed and angry and upset about it. I really wanted to love it, but it's a series now because of that book I will not reread. I reread all of Jen's books because I love them. Jen is my favourite author in the entire world, but I didn't like it. I gave it 3 stars because the story was good, but the way that the romance and everything was dealt with and ended, I really, really did not like it. So my top 3 books of the month. The first one, sorry, not the first one. Number 3 is The Rain by Virginia Bergin. It was stunning. I love dystopia books, and it is one of the best and most authentic sounding dystopia books that I have read. Number 2 was The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson. This is something that just took me by surprise. It was a book I didn't think that I would like at all, but I loved it. It was absolutely fantastic. And number 1, I'm sure you've probably guessed it, is Am I Normal Yet by Holly Bawn. It was stunning. It was moving. It was such a real depiction of what it would be like to live with a really serious case of OCD. And I just love it so much. I can't wait for her next book in this series. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so at the beginning of the video I said that I was going to include the books that are on my TBR for August. So I have 5 books. One of them was an ebook, so I will tell you that ebook is A Whole New World by Liz Braswell. This is a young adult retelling, and it's sort of a Disney type of retelling, which is about Aladdin, but it asks the question of what if Jafar had been the one to find the genie first. I am about 30% in, and yeah, it's okay at the moment. I'm hoping it's going to get better though. But yeah, I'm quite liking it. Then I have 4 hard copy books that won the vote as well. Night School by CJ Doherty, which I'm so excited for. I love CJ Doherty. She's such a cool person, and so I'm really excited to finally read one of her books. Fans of the Impossible Life by Kate Skelser. This is a young adult contemporary, and I'm really looking forward to it because it sounds awesome. One by Sarah Crossan, and this is a young adult contemporary, and it is about some conjoined twins, so I think that sounds really interesting. Plus it is written in verse, so that'll be interesting to see how I like that. And the other one that won the vote is Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. I'm really excited about this one because I've been wanting to read it for so long. It has been sat on my shelf since it released over a year ago. And I have the sequel, so if I really like this one, I'm hoping that I can read both of them together. Okay, so that's it for this month. Thanks for watching, and make sure you pop by the blog. I'll leave links below if you are watching this on YouTube. And make sure you vote on what books you want me to read. next month, so that will be September. The poll will be up on the blog all month, so make sure you tell friends to come and vote, because I want your input of what you would like me to read in the next month. Thanks for watching. Bye.